Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 26th of December for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you a broad overview that we can all relate to, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep into each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces. So as we come into this week, one of the aspects that's not really been discussed very much is the fact that Saturn, the planet of structure, in one of its two home zones of Aquarius, is in a semi-sextile with Neptune in the sign of Pisces. So we've got two planets located in their home berths, so they're in dignity. This semi-sextile is interesting because we're seeing some major structural changes in the world, and this week of course is very much to do with Capricornian energy because we have the Sun, Mercury, Venus and Pluto all in that sign. We also have Venus and Mercury coming into a conjunction on the 29th, despite Mercury going into retrograde that day. And also on the first day of 2023, Venus and Pluto come into an exact conjunction. So why am I talking about Saturn and Neptune in Aquarius and Pisces? Because I feel it's the direction of travel that's starting to open up. Once Pluto moves into Aquarius on the 24th of March, okay, it's just a brief journey through to early June this coming year, but it will be back for the long term through to year 44 from the 21st of January 2024. And the Aquarian energy that we're being pulled towards is more about a higher consciousness about how each of our individual behaviours, because Aquarius is very much the sign of the individual, but also how that collectively works with one another. Whereas Capricornian energy is much more to do with the established, the more ordered way of doing things that has become more the precedence over time. So I think that Capricornian energy, as we come into the start of 2023, is still really important. And having Venus and Pluto in a conjunction, my word, that can lead to some fated developments for many people throughout the year. But with Mercury in a retrograde, that's given us a bit of a clue that we need to rethink how we handle resources, how we approach things to do with materialism, just what value do we put on those old-fashioned notions of status, big properties, big cars. All of those things are going to come under increasing stress through the energy that's going to develop with Pluto in Aquarius. And Saturn has given us a taste over the last few years. So the angle between Saturn and Neptune is asking us to blend our perceptions and our sensitivities with the more progressive side of our thinking and how that interacts with other people. Now, it is also true to say that even though Mercury goes into the retrograde, which it will emerge from on January the 18th, it will still be in its post-shadow retrograde through to the 7th of February. So the early parts of 2023 are not necessarily going to be a straightforward plan. So we can set those New Year's resolutions. I should say that on New Year's Eve itself, the moon is in the sign of Taurus, where it really likes to be. It's exalted here, so a lovely place to be. And it's actually forging a beautiful semi-sextile to Jupiter, the planet of growth, newly arrived back in the sign of Aries. So I think that kind of says to us that the moon in Taurus is very much an appreciation of the good things in life, whether it's good food or good wine. But the Jupiterian energy is asking us through its rulership of Pisces to be mindful of the spiritual dimension, but also that we may have to refocus our longer term aims and goals because the world is changing radically, whether it's through automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, because we have the internet and technology has become at the core of so many of our lives. But as we come into the new year, and I'd like to wish you a very happy new year, On Sunday, the first day of this new dawn, that combination between Venus and Pluto is something to be mindful of, particularly in terms of business situations, because someone very charming and very persuasive is a person many of us will encounter in the new year. But we need to make sure that we're watching out for what the true motivations are of them and perhaps of ourselves on that particular event. So a lot of energy in the sign of Capricorn. That is asking us to think about goals, ambitions, and also it could be a culmination of a lot of effort that's gone in over a long period of time, where some people could get a deserved reward. But I think for many of us, what's absolutely true about modern life is that staying exactly as we are just isn't really an option, because the environment around us, quite literally, but also the interhumanal environment, is quite literally changing by the second. So sticking with those old objectives and those old ways of measuring what's important in life, such as the size of the property we live in, are going to make way much more for how we connect to other people and how we can find kinship, but also how we can find our individuality beyond the realm of purely making money. And I must stress, there's absolutely nothing wrong with making money whatsoever. So please stay with me for your in-depth zodiac forecast. But if you've yet to get your year 2023 12-month personal forecast, if you order it now, you can get your life roadmap as well, 2 charts, and 30% off. But I will also give you your general 12-month forecast, your Chinese forecast for the year, and your Indian forecast. They're all 3 within the package. Please see the link below. So Taurus, your week commencing the 26th of December forecast sees your ruling planet Venus really to the fore. It's combining with Mercury as Mercury slams on the brakes. That in itself could lead to a surprise but delightful connection or communication with someone at a distance, someone very different to you, or you could read something inspiring, or perhaps if you've got information or knowledge you want to share to others, this can be an opportunity to do so. But it could also see you rethinking your philosophies with Mercury in that retrograde. But I think it's the conjunction with Pluto that's comes into an exactitude on the first day of the new year, which is really symbolic to what year 2023 is likely to hold for you in terms of your sign. I think you're really going to be a truth seeker. Now, it doesn't matter really what your current situation is, or your approach to situations, or your current philosophies. I think they are going to be going through a very lively inner debate, but also your desire to travel or widen your horizons, or to reconfigure your life in some kind of way, which has been something that you've been potentially experimenting with in recent years with the help of Uranus, but also, of course, of Pluto before then. But now I think you're going to feel a lot more relaxed about making some changes. Your appreciation of what's stable, constant, and in terms of giving you a sense of security, that's not something that you're suddenly going to become detached from, because being an earth sign, you do need to feel that the foundations of your world are solid. But if it means experimenting and going off for journeys, or going on a course of study, or learning a foreign language, or communicating with someone at a distance who you find really different, all these things can be very captivating for you. But in terms of personal relationships, if your truth doesn't align with someone you're closely involved with, I think by the end of 2023, you may find yourself, as Jupiter comes out of retrograde on the very last day in your sign, I feel that the journey you may have gone through may have seen you doing a lot of rethinking, but repositioning. Your relationships in particular have to be based on a truth that works for you. Now, you know the old saying, everyone sees things in different ways and therefore has their own truth. So whatever your truth is, You could find that it changes somewhat radically this year, I feel. But also what's important to you in relationships really is going to be the tipping point between them continuing, growing and thriving, or actually coming to a complete end. I'd like to wish you a very happy new year.